I'd like to call this meeting of the Herkimer County Legislature to order. I'd like to ask Eddie Cox to start us in the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's just say standing for a moment of silence, reflection of our veterans. Thank you. Clerk will call the roll.
Hartman.
Here.
Rose. Here. Schrader.
Here.
Manine. Here. Johnson.
Here.
Hendricks. Here. Hyde. Brzezinski.
Here.
Mano.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Ono.
Here.
Ackerman.
Here.
Kaplinski.
Here.
Force.
Here.
Russell.
Here.
Shaw.
Here.
Weekly.
Here. We have a quorum. Pursuant to Rule 8, are there any objections or corrections to the minutes of the January 9th and January 14th meeting? If there are none, all are them approved. Reading.
The microphone's on.
Yeah. Everything all right? Reading in full of claims disallowed by the auditor and presented for audit by the legislature. Nothing on the desk. We'll dispense with the regular session to allow for a presentation by Mr. Mano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right in front. Just line up here. We have Puppy Aragon and the HEC soccer team.
Keep coming in.
You're coming again.
Facing the wrong way.
One disadvantage you has tonight.
I have a proclamation here that's I'm going to present to Puppy Aragon and to the team. The proclamation reads, whereas by winning the 2012 NJCAA Division III National Soccer Championship, the Herkimer County Community College men's soccer team and its coaches have brought great credit to themselves, their college, their families, the county of Herkimer, and the state of New York. And whereas HCCC men's soccer has established a rich history of excellence, having won 24 Regional III championships, and this year's win over Maryland's Montgomery College at Wareham Stadium in Herkimer, New York, and brought the team to its 9th national championship title. And whereas Herkimer County men's soccer team finished the season with a record of 20 wins, 2 losses, and 0 ties. Craig McCabe was named the tournament's most valuable player. And whereas Herkimer County men's soccer team is coached by Puppy Aragon, who with his outstanding credits and accomplishments has also been inducted into the NJCAA Soccer Hall of Fame. Corab Sila was given the 2012 National Soccer Coaches of America Association Award of Junior College National Player of the Year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Vincent J. Bono, do deem it fitting and appropriate to proclaim Thursday, February 14th, 2013, as HCC Men's Soccer Team Day in Herkimer County, and urge the residents to join in the celebration. Given under my hand and the great seal of the County of Herkimer, New York, in the year of our Lord, 2013, signed Vincent J. Bono, Chairman, Herkimer County Legislature.
On behalf of our players here, and you can see they're from all different parts of the area, different parts of New York State, out of state, internationally.
Want to have him go down the line and do some song?
Sure, and where you're from.
Yeah.
And where you're from. Just say your name and where you're from, guys.
Connor Shear, Oneonta, New York. You're just doing, I'm from Haiti.
Pedro from Brazil.
Eric Zerba from Chinego.
Isaiah Cossin from England.
Brian Cohen from Port Chester, New York.
Matt Alexander from Rockville Beach, New York.
Tristan from Toronto, Canada. Joe Star from Toronto, Canada.
Charlie Anderson from England.
Rafael Corral from Denver, Connecticut. Corral Sala from Yonkers, New York.
I'm Travis Vance from Nelliston, New York.
I'm Jonathan Kinsey, New York. Mike Costa, New York.
Adam Pizzetti, Edward, New York.
Juan Castro from Colombia.
Mike Hope, Springfield, Mass.
George Murphy from England. Jermaine from Holland.
Daniel Kelly from England.
Andrew West from Scotland. Peter McAvoy from Scotland.
Rafa from Brazil. Alexandre Salievo from Brazil.
Jim Bono, Skyler, New York.
On behalf of all of us and the coaching staff, thank you so much for having us here. Doing things like this really helps us relive that special day that happened back in November. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
See you next year, guys.
There, guys. Yeah, congratulations. Well,
You guys don't think Herkimer County is a great place?
Mr. Main also has another announcement he'd like to make.
I'd like to welcome Luke Pavia from LA, New York. He's a journalism major at Utica College. He's going to be taping our meetings. HCC was kind enough to let us use their equipment, and they're also going to put the tapes up on Channel 99 for us. So I look forward to a long partnership between the two colleges and us, and a successful one. Thank you.
We'll now go to a comment period by residents. I'd ask that you hold your comments to 5 minutes apiece, and we'll have a total period of 30 minutes. And I'll first call on Carl Street from Million, New York, and his subject matter is proposed new jail.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start by thanking my legislator, Ray Johnson, for arranging a small conference between himself, Mr. Bono, and Mr. Wallace, at which time we discussed some of the costs that I thought I had accumulated on potential new jail costs, and they were kind enough to share with me their information. That was on the 23rd. On the 25th, as promised by Mr. Wallace, he revised and produced, I think, for all of you, a document that shows the best estimates that he and the team could come up with for operating costs for the current method of incarcerating our inmates, what a new building would cost in terms of annual operating costs, and what a total board-out concept would cost. And it shows quite quickly that were we to board out, and I'll come to this one first because it's what some of us have been asking for quite some time, boarding out under these county numbers, these are not my numbers, the savings per year in operating costs would be $386,000. Further, the numbers show that were a new building to be built, the savings would be $719,000 a year. Those are significant numbers. The first one, total board-out savings of $386,000, could be achieved right now. There's nothing that, the negotiation with SLC and some hand-holding there, but without any investment, we could begin immediately to reduce our incarceration costs by almost $400,000 a year. County numbers. County numbers also say if we were to build a new jail, we'd save $720,000 a year. It's an even bigger number, a difference of about $333,000 between the savings that board out would achieve or the savings that a new jail would achieve. We also discussed that same day some of the costs involved in acquiring the new jail, because that's the elephant in the room. You can save $700,000 by building a new jail as opposed to $400,000 by boarding out, but You have to spend $38.9 million to get the jail in the first place. $38.8 million to avoid an overcost of $333,000 would take 116 years to pay back the cost of that jail. I just can't see that as anything but folly. Maybe it would help to put it in this perspective. Let's say you're approaching, takes 3 digits off the back. We won't talk 38.885, we'll talk $38,000. And instead of 333,000, we'll talk 333. Just to put it in perspective, if someone approached you and said, sir, if you were to, we're talking about the operation cost of an automobile. If you were to change your gas station, go down the street to that gas station, buy from those people, you'll save $333 a year. I got another way you can save $720 a year, but you have to buy one of these new green hybrid cars that is going to cost you $38,000. Put it in that perspective. A $38,800 car will save you $700 a year, or you can simply go to another vendor just down the street here and save $332. I don't think there's any issue here at all. I asked you to consider those numbers. I think it's the proper perspective, the proper logic. I don't think any of you businessmen or any of you taxpayers want to tolerate a 116-year return on investment. It just is unheard of. It's not fiscally responsible. And I think that's the way I read these numbers. The operating cost for boarding out compared to operating cost for a new jail would be a loss of $333,000 a year. We would save less, $333,000 a year, less than what the new jail would. But we'd have to spend $38 million to get the new jail. It doesn't make any logical sense to me, and I ask for any and all help in trying to understand your thinking that helps you to promote this idea. Thank you very much.
Okay, there's no one else. Communications received by the legislature and the committees to which they have been referred are listed on the agenda. Does any member of the legislature request mention of any particular communication? None. Move on. Pursuant to Rule 6, Number 8, reports of standing committees. I'll ask if there's any chairperson of the committee that would like to make remarks on the progress of any issue that has come under the committee. Speak at this time. Mr. Shaw?
We did it for a few of us from Herkimer County did attend the last Cleaner Greener study group it was held at SUNY Tech. And that preliminary draft they're going to present at HCCC on March 7th. So anybody interested that's not sure if it's a day meeting or night meeting, it hasn't posted yet.
Any other chairperson? Move on. Now continue with consent agenda. Will the clerk please read the title of each resolution on the consent agenda?
34 is the Public Safety Emergency Management Committee approving the monthly report to the sheriff. 35 is Public Safety with the annual report of the sheriff. 36 is Administration Veterans Affairs Annual Report of Board of Elections. 37 is Information Services with the annual, or it should be Human Resources, with the annual report of Office for Aging. 38 is Information Services, annual report of Information Services. Ways and Means is transferring funds in 2012 budget. 40 is Public Safety Emergency Management, Ways and Means, extending contract for Homeland Security Grant for Emergency Services Office. And 41 is Human Resources, Ways and Means, contract with the state for reimbursement for rabies program expenses.
We have a motion on consent. Mr. Hyde, second by Mr. Ackerman. Any debate? Mrs. Rose.
May I speak to a particular item within the consent agenda? The monthly report of the sheriff. I had the 3 reports here, and of course the sheriff's annual report. And one of the issues that I had wanted to bring up at the public safety meeting, but is adjourned before I could ask the question. We know that we have 7 cells in our jail that are offline. and because of lock situation. And they have been offline for many, many, many months. I mean, it goes back to almost this time last year, I think, when we first learned, maybe a month or so down the road, we first had a discussion about replacing the 7 locks. So one would assume that not all 7 are offline at the
Mr.
same
Chairman, should
time.
this be executive session?
No, I'm not
For
speaking,
security?
I don't believe it's, the cells aren't being used, Mr. Chairman.
I mean, she's not giving out any information at this time. If she does, we'll go into executive session.
Appreciate it.
The concern I have is we know that the cost, when we can't use cells, and we're boarding out a significant number of people at $85 a day. I mean, the simple math would tell me that if those 7 cells had been occupied from the time that I first became aware that there were 7 offline, you're talking a couple of $100,000. That particular information, I would hope the sheriff's report in the future could include some information and updates on what's going on as far as the locks.
From what I understand, they're going to be installed tomorrow, so there probably won't be any.
They're going to be installed tomorrow. Well, you know what? I would love the report next month to tell us that they were installed, because it's a significant amount of money. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyone else? All those in? Yes, sir, of course.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I need to comment too also on a couple issues regarding the annual report of the sheriff. The jail's budget for 2012 was $3.5 million. And the line item also included $950,000 for boarding out. Now, if you add that together, you get $4.5 million. Now, for $4.5 million, 365 days in 2012, you get $12,500 a day. The average daily population of our jail and boarding out was 71. And if you divide 71 into that 12,500, it costs us $175 a day to operate the jail per inmate. Now, we had a recent court action where Mr. Conklin, who wound up evading police, had the misfortune of hitting someone and killing him, and his case was due to go to trial. He spent 185 days, as we speak, in our jail, and the courts decided that they were going to bring him back and sentence him on May 3rd, which is another 80 days. So he's going to spend 260 days in our jail. And the problem I feel, Mr. Chairman, is the way the judiciary of this county and the district attorneys and the attorneys aren't getting down to business and taking care of the inmates that are in the jail. And I think this is aggravating it. I think the problem isn't the jail. I think it's the judiciary system here in Herkimer County. About 10 or 15 years ago, I've been around here a while, we met with Judge Kirk, and one of the problems he said was the fact that the PSIs, the pre-sentence investigations, took too long to get back from probation. This legislature responded immediately at the next meeting with an additional probation officer. When Tom Montana left, we were down, I believe, to 11 business days turnaround on a PSI. Now, I don't know if that's deteriorated or not, but if that's the case, I don't know why the courts would say 90 days for this pre-sentence investigation to occur so that they can then send this person to state prison because he's been convicted of a felony. And then I don't know how much longer he's going to sit idling in our jail as a state-ready prisoner before he goes. It's the problem isn't the jail. It's lack of getting down to business and taking care of the criminals that we have. So I just thought I needed to make that statement, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
All those in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Consent agenda passes. And now go to the regular agenda, starting with number 42.
Let's see, Ways and Means Committee making appropriation of funds in connection with snow removal contracts.
This resolution appropriates funds for the county road fund balance to provide funds for county snow removal contracts. May I have a motion? Mr. Russell, second. By Mr. Shaw. Any debate? Clerk will call the roll.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Hyde.
Yes.
Brzezinski.
Yes.
Mano.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Bono.
Yes.
Ackerman.
Yes.
Kaplinski.
Yes.
Corse.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Weekly.
Yes.
Hartman.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Manine.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Number 43.
Ways and Means transferring funds to the reserve account.
This resolution authorizes the transfer of any 2012 unspent funds in the county building account to the reserve for county buildings improvement. May I have a motion? Mr. Russell, second by Mr. Weekly. Any debate? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Number 44.
Human Resources, Ways and Means concerning services in connection with expanded in-home services for the elderly.
This resolution authorizes renewals of contracts and a new contract to provide services for the expanded in-home services for elderly program. May I have a motion? Mr. Smith, second by Mrs. Manning. Any debate? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Number 45.
Ways and Means granting an additional leave of absence.
This resolution authorizes an additional one-year leave of absence to Mary Sullivan so she can serve in a statewide office with the Civil Service Employees Association. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Russell, second by Mr. Corse.
We have a roll call vote, please.
Allow the roll call. Clerk, call the roll.
Bono.
Yes.
Ackerman.
Yes.
Kaplinski.
Yes.
Corse.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yeah.
Weekly.
No.
Hartman.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Manine.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Hendricks.
No.
Hyde.
No.
Brzezinski.
Yes.
Mano.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Number 46.
Public Safety, Emergency Management, appointing members, increasing membership for the EMS Advisory Board.
This resolution increases the memberships of the Herkimer County Emergency Medical Services Advisory Board and makes additional appointments. May I have a motion? Mr. Hendricks, second by Mr. Hyde. Any debate? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Number 47.
Public Safety, Emergency Management, Ways and Means, authorizing contract for emergency notification system.
This resolution authorizes a contract for the provision of an emergency notification system for the Herkimer County E911 Center. May I have a motion? Mr. Hendricks, second by Mr. Poplinski. Is that Mr. Poplinski? Any debate? Mrs.
I wonder
Rose.
if, I would appreciate if, especially since the meeting is being recorded, if you would allow Mr. Vander Walker to tell us what this would accomplish, the grant that you got for it, and how it would be utilized.
I'll allow it, you know, it's a new phase. Mr. Vander Walker, do you want to give us a synopsis on how that works?
Yes, this is a emergency notification system that would be a countywide system, actually, and could be rolled out to other municipalities, school districts, for the purpose of making notifications to their public in their jurisdictions, and also for us at 911 and emergency management to use on a countywide basis in the event of emergencies and an early warning type system. Also, the system can be used by county governments, including our own, for employee notification. You can create accounts within the system of your employees, groups such as the Legislature, and it can be used as a non-emergency system also. This system has capabilities of notifying every resident in the county within a matter of minutes. There's a number of components to the system. I could talk for an hour on it, but I'll make it short. It uses our database at 911 for the residents that we know that are in our database. There's also a subscription component where the company will assist us in doing a PR campaign to get people to go to a website that they will create for us and allow people to enter their information, how they want to be notified and what they want to be notified of. So that way, people that no longer have home phones, they can also get in there and register and receive these by email, by cell phone, by text. There's like 9 different ways that you can choose to be notified. The system will also, because it's critical sometimes if you're, and I'll use an example of flooding, if you need to notify people of a flood situation in their neighborhood or community, the system will not give up trying to notify a person or people until it gets an acknowledgement that they've been notified. Then it sends a report back and tells you who was notified and who wasn't. So you can, for the people that were notified, you can take further action to try to get them notified. I don't know what else. This is a 2-year contract. We have funding for 2 years. After the 2 years, we'll have to look for different avenues of funding. Right now, I've checked with Homeland Security. We can continue to use Homeland Security money for the contract as it comes. I will, however, say if it comes, we don't know what's coming, what's not coming in the future. Right now, we think we're getting more money, but we just don't know for sure. There are other monies available that we can apply for this, but this right now is for a 2-year contract for this Everbridge early warning notification system.
Thank you. Anyone? Mr. Russell.
Mr. Chairman, you know, since 911, there's been an awful lot of headaches within the 911 system. And I just want to say publicly tonight, thank you to Bob Vanderwalker for all that he's done for us, and to his staff, and to the 911 operators who have certainly done a remarkable, fantastic job over at this site. Bob has been on top of everything, despite, you know, some of this bureaucratic baloney that he's had to go through. He's certainly been working hard, and his administration over there has done just a great job. So thank you, Bob, for all that you've done for the county residents, the EMS.
One more point. I was asked, I said I would bring this back at this meeting. I was asked at the public safety meeting the difference between landline and cellular phones. I did research that. Now these are the true emergency 911 calls that we have received. We received over 16,000 cellular 911 calls and only 5,000 landline calls in the past year. Now we take a lot more calls than that. We take about 150,000 calls a year. A lot of those are non-emergency type calls, but those are the true 911 calls.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Hartley?
Well, yes, Mr. Russell stole my thunder, but I'd like to echo his comments and congratulate Mr. Vanderwalker. I think this notification system is a great program.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to jump on it briefly too. The amount of paperwork that's involved when we go after federal disaster monies is, I know it's enormous, and I know Bob's willing to follow through and bird dog that, and that channels monies back in Herkimer County that otherwise wouldn't even get here. So that needs to be said too.
Very good. Need a motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Resolution passes. Number 48.
Public Safety Emergency Management Ways and Means concerning contract for electronic monitoring program.
Resolution requests an extension of the contract for the electronic monitoring program and approves the name change for G4S Justice Services to Sentinel Offender Services. May I have a motion? Mr. Hendrick, second by Mr. Poplinski. Any debate? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Resolution passes. Number 48.
49, Public Safety Emergency Management Ways and Means in connection with receipt of Ignition Interlock Monitoring Program.
This resolution authorizes acceptance of a grant for the State Division of Criminal Justice Services for an Ignition Interlock Monitoring Program. May I have a motion? Mr. Hendrick, second by Mr. Poplinski. All those, I'm sorry, any debate?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Beware that the state doesn't start pulling the rug out from underneath us on this program also. Traditionally, probation is one of the areas that takes a hit from the state as far as reimbursement is concerned.
For debate? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Number 50.
Ways and Means, Public Safety Emergency Management awarding bid for vehicle modification.
This resolution awards a bid for a vehicle modification. Motion by Mr. Hyde, second by Mr. Shaw. Any debate? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Resolution passes. 51.
Human Resources, Ways and Means requesting legislation authorizing exemption from residency requirements for the Public Health Director.
This resolution requests special legislation in connection with residency requirement for a position of Director of Public Health. May I a motion? Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Russell. Any debate? Mrs. Rose.
Mr. Chairman, I had the pleasure to sit in on the interviews when when the Human Resource Committee was interviewing for the Public Health Director. And I certainly would support the appointment of the individual that did so well during the interview. The fact that the individual was from out of our county would give me concern if I felt that there was an equally qualified and competent candidate that was evaluated. I think it's important to note the process that was used in Herkimer County, and that all of the candidates who applied, their resumes were reviewed by the State Health Department, and therefore the people that were interviewed, the 3 candidates that were interviewed were the ones that had applied and were viewed as appropriate for the position in terms of experience and education. And I would definitely support this. I think that it's a win for Herkimer County. Thank you.
Any more debate? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution passes. Number 52.
Natural Resources concerning Region 6 Open Space Advisory Committee.
This resolution appoints Perry Seaver of Newport, New York, as a representative of Herkimer County on the Region 6 Open Space Advisory Committee. May I have a motion? Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Hyde. Any debate? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Number 53.
Planning and Development, Ways and Means, authorizing agreement with Herkimer County Trail and Trade Association.
This resolution authorizes a contract with Herkimer County Trail and Trade Association in connection with the snowmobile trail development and maintenance program. May I have a motion? Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Johnson. Any debate? All those in favor, aye? Any opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Number 54. 4.
Yet, Administration Veterans Affairs opposing Governor's budget proposal to limit sales tax exemptions to local industrial development agencies.
This resolution opposes the governor's proposal to limit the ability of local industrial development agencies to offer sales tax breaks for local projects. May I have a motion? Mrs. Manini, second by Mr. Shaw. Any debate? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Resolution passes. Number 55.
Human Resources, Properties, Ways and Means, amending Resolution 221 of 212.
This resolution amends Resolution Number 221 of 2012, authorizing the sale of Country Manor. May I have a motion? Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Hartman. Any debate? Mr. Hartman.
I will be opposing this resolution as I did the original resolution, and for many reasons, including the following. The purchase agreement that is the purchase agreement that's the subject of this resolution. In that agreement, we provide $18,000 a month for the first year to the proposed purchaser for a total of $216,000, and I believe that's non-refundable. Consequently, if the at-home or AHC were to default between years 1 and 2, they would pay us $268,000. We would have paid them $216,000. Consequently, they would get property valued at $335,000. All of the facilities, equipment, and contents at a net cost of $52,000. They walk away after the second year. They pay us $201,000. We will have given them $216,000. They walk away with property worth $335,000 plus the contents. They walk away after 3 years. We would have paid them $216,000. They pay us $134,000 for the property worth $335,000. They default between years 4 and 5. They pay us $67,000. We would have paid them $216,000. Their windfall would be $149,000 plus property worth $335 and the contents. They walk away after 5 years. We would have paid them $216,000. They paid us $0. they'll end up with the $216,000 in their pocket, property worth $335,000, and we could end up with a closed facility under any of those scenarios. Furthermore, the county's hastily drafted ALP application that we submitted on the purchaser's behalf has been denied by the Department of Health. I would like to mention that Valley Health Services already has approval for 36 ALP beds. We should be concentrating on helping VHS and HCCC move forward with their elder care partnership. If that is successful, the tenants of Country Manor could have a new modern home. The partnership will be a shining example of public, private, and educational institutions can work together for the greater good. Those types of partnerships are being encouraged and supported by Albany and Washington because they assist in preparing the workforce for the future while providing valuable and essential services along with economic development opportunities. Should we succeed in moving forward with the HCCC-DHS collaboration, Herkimer County could sell the Country Manor property, which lies next to the West Canada Creek, and keep the proceeds rather than giving the valuable real estate away to an entity that can close at any time. The West Canada draws people to the area, which creates business opportunities and adds value to the property. Clearly, the forward-thinking VHS HCCC plan is the most cost-effective way to provide a valuable service that will benefit our seniors for generations to come. Thank you.
Any more debate? Mrs. Rose.
Mr. Chairman, at the committee meeting of Properties Committee, I brought up points, and I concur with much of what Mr. Hartman has just said. I understand that this amendment or this corrected resolution is necessary in order to give us a greater opportunity to transfer the resource or sell the resource. And we're saying that we have no use for it. And the point that I was trying to make was that right now the 20-some people who reside there think we do have a use. I know that there is not an appetite in this room, and nor is there really an appetite on my part for any long-term retention of Country Manor. We know the building did not pass an opportunity to be an assisted living facility with Valley Health when they got the HEAL grant. This firm that has come forward has framed a deal in the purchase option, purchase agreement with Herkimer County. And the finances, as Mr. Hartman explains it, I mean, when I read in the paper that we're selling it for $300 and some thousand, it sometimes makes me crazy because I think if the company survives for 5 years, they do end up with it for free. But a bigger question for me is the level of care that it will be. It will not be an assisted living. Could they come back later and apply for more? Perhaps, but I'm not optimistic. The beds were approved for Valley Health, and they may well not be approved again for, at least not in the next few years for this new entity. I think that we have people that are residing in Country Manor that have personal, some of the members that are there have personal resources and can relocate to any one of the other adult homes, either in Herkimer County or someplace else. But there's a segment of the population that, because of lack of resources, do not have that opportunity. The firm that has offered this purchase option or purchase agreement has indicated that they will keep of the residents when they assume ownership. They will keep those residents that qualify for their level of service. I have asked many months ago, and have repeated it at various intervals, that we have an assessment done on the level of care of the people that are currently in Country Manor. It is conceivable that some of the people that might be there may well right now require, or very soon, a higher level of service. So we may well be transferring this asset, and the people that we think we're preserving a residency for will not benefit from it. Comments have been made about this does offer the potential for jobs. It does. The partnership that Mr. Hartman spoke about does too. I'm disappointed because I know that Mr. Schrader worked hard with various departments in the county to try to offer training to the staff that are at Country Manor to expand the horizons and opportunities, and I guess at this point in time, they've not accessed that. I don't know that the kind of money that's at play here is something that can be offset in the hopes that maybe a few of these people would be able to retain jobs. I hope that this resolution goes down and we stop it, and we do concentrate on what might be a potential with Valley Health and HCCC, more fully understand that options or what options we have available. And I encourage you to review the level of care of the people that are in that house and be able to see whether there are any options for those that do need adult home care within our community with whatever subsidy. I had asked before if we could check with the health department or any other regulatory agencies, if we would be able to subsidize the replacement within existing assisted living or adult homes in our county. And I was told that the commissioner and Mr. Wallace were going to be looking into it, but I've not heard anything back. And I was pushing against stone trying to get that information directly myself. So I'm not going to be able to support this either. I would like it to get clarified so that we could move forward, because there is no doubt in my mind that there are adequate votes in this room to close Country Manor, and then I'm not sure what would happen to the people that are living there. Thank you.
Any other debate?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Coach?
I believe that one of the caveats of the original sale was that the people, the residents that were there, will be taken care of.
Correct.
And so that was why we entered into this kind of a sale. With whatever seems like a huge financial loss, our concern was the residents, and that was a condition of the sale. Now, this just dusts up that sale language to fit, I guess, the state's need for this language, so we're dusting it up. But the commitment is still the same, that those residents shall be taken care of.
Right. Mr. Schrader?
I just wanted to make a comment. I did reach out to the individuals to see if we could get them training through the county, and I appreciate Mr. Wallace and Mr. Seymour's and Ms. Simcoe's effort to do that. Not one of them chose to do this. I will support this for one reason: possibilities of jobs being created there. We all know, I'm playing the cards that I was dealt. We all know that it takes 9 to close, it takes 12 to push this through. I would rather see a location open, possible for jobs, rather than close with no possibility of jobs. So I will support this.
Mr. Hyde?
I would just like to say that right now, currently, we're spending in excess of $250,000 a year out of taxpayers' money, plus their budget. This is in addition to the budget. This is an overrun. So if you prorate that on 5 years, that's 1.25 million.
Anyone else? Mr. Hartman?
No, I just want to point out that there are other options over the course of those 5 years, and I just spoke of a very viable one. And I had mentioned how they could walk away at any time and walk away with a windfall after 2 years. That could be a real possibility. One thing has changed since the first resolution was voted on. They got turned down for an ALP application, and then talking to people in that field, it will be very difficult for them to survive under those conditions without ALP beds financially. And I don't think it's a solid plan, and it's more shaky than it was a few months ago.
Mr. Russell?
Mr. Chairman, I wondered if I could ask Mr. Wallace a question.
Call
We got a proposal from VHS years ago in regards to that property. Do you recall how much money they wanted in order to operate that facility?
About $1 million.
Yes, it was $1 million. We looked at that and we said, they thought that it couldn't even go at $1 million. So when we structured this contract, we put in there these clauses that, no, they're not going to get a windfall, I'm sorry. They're going to be doing a service for the county and the residents there. So Mr. Hartman calls it a windfall. I think most of us call it a thank you for helping out our residents As Mr. Hyde pointed out, there are losses there far in excess of $250,000, more in excess of $500,000. Our purpose was to put together a program where the people could stay there. The contract does that, and I think calling it a windfall for the other folks isn't necessarily the correct terminology. We're looking at this to provide a home for these people and to keep them there if they want to be there. And it really serves a purpose, and we're not putting out $1 million like another agency is hoping to get from us. So,
Anyone else? Mrs. Rose?
As far as the $1 million, as I recall at the time, and I certainly was not one of the ones sitting at the table negotiating on this, but I understand that what Valley Health agreed to do was to take the population that was within Country Manor and guarantee a place for any one of them within the network of what they had available within the Bassett network. So if they required a higher level of care, they would have gone there and they would have been taken under that proposal. In this particular case, some believe that this means this guarantees a home for the people that are there. I would contend it does not, because we don't know the level of care that's needed for the people that are there. That was the prerequisite that I'd asked for, is to have someone evaluate if we have 25 or 22 people that are there now, and if there's 5 or 6 that are on private pay, and the rest of them, do the people that are there require the care? Because let's remember, this agreement only covers those people who reside in that house at the time of the transfer and who are acceptable for an adult home care. Any of the rest of them, the day 2 when these people take over, if they come in and do the PRI or whatever that term is, and evaluate them and find out they're not suitable for adult home, they will be moved someplace, not necessarily a place locally, not necessarily a place operated by this company. That's in that agreement. That's the point. It is not guaranteeing the people that are there anything unless they qualify as adult home beds. That's the only point that I'm trying to make to you.
Any other debate? Clerk will call the roll.
Ackerman.
Yes.
Maplinski.
Yes.
Corse.
Yes.
Russell.
yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Weekly.
Yes.
Hartman.
No.
Rose.
No.
Schrader.
Yes.
Manine.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Hyde.
Yes.
Brzezinski.
Yes.
Bano.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Bono.
Yes. Resolution passes. Number 56.
That is Ways and Means amending Resolution 167 and 199 of 2012.
This resolution amends Resolution number 167 and number 199 of 2012, approving the standard workday and retirement reporting for elected and appointed officials. May I have a motion? Mr. Russell, second. By Mr. Hyde. Any debate? All those in favor, aye? I'm sorry, roll call. Roll call.
Corse.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Weekly.
Yes.
Hartman.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Schrader.
Yes.
Manine.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Hyde.
Yes.
Brzezinski.
Yes.
Miano.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Bono.
Yes.
Ackerman.
Yes.
Maplinski.
Yes.
17.
Resolution passes. Number 57. I'll ask the clerk to read the memorial.
It reads, whereas Frederick L. Rockwood departed this life on January 14th, 2013. Frederick Rockwood was an outstanding citizen, devoted husband, father, and grandfather. He was a proud veteran of World War II, Korean War, serving in the United States Air Force. He was an outstanding man of integrity, served as assessor, town of Schuyler judge, and as a member of the Herkimer County Legislature from 1988 to 1991. He gave freely of his time to many community organizations, East Schuyler Volunteer Fire Department, BFW, and Schuyler Baseball League. And whereas the county of Herkimer and its residents has sustained a great loss by the passing of this dedicated public servant, the legislature expresses its deepest regret at the decease of Frederick Rockwood and hope that this expression may console his family.
May I have a motion? I'd like to make that motion. Second by Mr. Hyde. Any comments? I'd like to make a comment before anyone. Anyone who knew Fred Rockwood in the town of Schuyler or in the county knew that he gave himself very freely, in his public life, in his private life, with his family. If you knew this guy, he was the salt of the earth. Peeled many a potato at the the firehouse, at ham dinners and chicken barbecues, and he always had a story to tell. So whether it be with the youth or DFW that he was heavily involved with, he gave 100%. And our condolences to his family, and he was a good man. Anyone else? Mr. Court.
Mr. Chairman, Fred worked with me quite closely when the solid waste issue was rolling right along, and he was very supportive and had a keen insight for the direction we went, and I appreciated his support on that.
Anyone else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Memoriam for Mr. Collins. Clerk will read.
Whereas James F. Collins departed this life on February 6, 2013. Whereas Jim Collins was an outstanding citizen, devoted husband of 57 years, loving father and grandfather. He was honorably served his country as Staff Sergeant of the U.S. Army Air Force during World War II. He was an outstanding man of integrity, served his community, Village of Frankfort attorneys, school board attorneys for Frankfort and Little Falls. And he held a long and respected career with the county, serving as assistant county attorney and then as county attorney from 1980 until his retirement in 1998. He freely gave his time to civic organizations, the Herkimer County Bar Association, Frankfort Kiwanis, and the Alien Knights of Columbus. Whereas the county has sustained a great loss by the passing of this dedicated public servant, and we express our deepest regrets at his decease and hope that this expression consoles his family.
Any comments? Oh, I need a motion. Mr. Hyde, second. Mr. Johnson. Any comments now? All those in favor? Any opposed? Resolution passes. Now go to comments by legislators. Legislator wishing to speak? There are none. I'd just like to make a couple quick comments. As you know, our bond rating went up 8 plus 8. I'm sorry, it's went from a capital A to lowercase a to 3, whatever that means. But I think that's up at the top quadrant of Moody's rating. I just want to commend everyone involved, and from that, I mean, you know, Mr. Wallace, who deals with it on a daily basis, Mr. Decker, who's here, our department heads, our employees, and this legislature for gaining that distinction. We should be proud. That goes a long way for the taxpayers right there. Should we have to incur any debt in the future, that will save potentially millions of dollars in any loan that we might have. So I want to commend everyone for a lot of hard and diligent work. So thank you in that regard. I went to Intercounty, and I mentioned this at a committee meeting. It was the Intercounty meeting at the NISAC convention a week and a half ago. I had the privilege of speaking for a resolution that was passed at the intercounty level. Both the Adirondack Intercounty and the Western New York Intercounty met jointly, and over 30 counties voted unanimously to send a resolution to the governor and the state legislature asking for a repeal of the SAFE Act of 2013 that deals with the gun issue. So it was overwhelming. There was not one person voted against it. So it's 30 counties out of 62 counties, and I guess from the legislators who did attend the NISAC conference, you know, it was mentioned there was a clear divide between upstate and downstate on this issue. But we need to stay vigilant. I got another few paragraphs to write to the governor. I'm penning a letter to him asking for a repeal, just personally, and an invite to Herkimer County, and so he can talk to the residents of the county, and in particular the 1,300 plus employees and families at Remington Arms. He owes that to them, and so I'm asking for a visit from the governor. He hasn't been here since he's been elected, and I would hope that he would take us up on that invitation. So, anyone else? Mr. Russell.
I want to thank you. You did invite me to that meeting with Mr. Streeter, and I couldn't make it, but 38 million, I was just curious where that number came from for a year ago.
I don't know. Last I know it was around 34. But
Okay. You guys didn't say 38?
I didn't.
It's 33 point something, Pat, for the complex. Jail is a portion of that, the sheriff's department is a portion of that also.
I was just wondering if something went up or if we didn't.
But I think there's some interest involved there,
There's, and this is what he said, you think there's
some interest.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we understood. The second thing is we had mentioned possibly an executive session during this. Is there going to be?
Yes. We'll go to that after this. Mr. Kaczynski?
Mr. Chairman, I'll repeat what I said the last time. I did have a private talk with Andrew Como, and he did tell me that somebody will come down and talk to Remington Arms, and he promised that. So I'm hoping that that happens, and possibly with you doing what you're doing, it'll push it along. So, thank you very much.
Do the personal one from himself, but I appreciate the effort. Thank you. Anyone else? I ask that we go into a motion to go into executive session to talk about a contract with Valley Health Services and under advice of counsel. So, Mr. Russell, second by Mr. Hyde. We are, all those in favor? Any opposed? We're in executive session.